The purpose of Daily Scrum is for the development team to meet together and discuss issues in the sprints that they can work together, can help them towards meeting their sprint goal, right? And according to the Scrum Guide, they will meet and discuss what they worked on yesterday, what they plan to work on today, and if there's any blockers, right? And the purpose of my video today, I want to discuss the anti-patterns and sometimes mistake me, myself, I'm guilty of, that we do as Scrum Masters, or we maybe sometimes observe or have seen in a Scrum team that we can help bring it to light. Hello everyone, welcome back to Aisha Scrum. I'm very happy to have you all today. And today's topic is very important because we all know that we have the Scrum Guide, which have all the list of things Scrum Masters help us to guide us in supporting our team. And then again, when we go to our work, we face the true reality, right? So it's very important for me to be here, not to just come here and act like everything is so rosy, so sometimes there's challenges we face as Scrum Masters, and I know you all have your Scrum Guide, you all are very familiar what's in the book, but my point is to show you all what's out there in the reality and how can we help and support each other in our work. So that's why I'm coming up with these anti-patterns that I've seen myself, I'm guilty of, like I said, and things that we can do now to hopefully change those and bring these anti-patterns and mistakes to light. So I hope this all helps you. And it's very important for you all to know that some things might be anti-pattern and mistake to me, but to you all, it might be, no, Aisha, this is not anti-pattern. This is something that actually I think it's right. And if that's the case, I really would like to hear from you all what your own thought are in some of this list that I've come up with. Just comment down below, right? So that'll be very nice. So, and if you disagree with some stuff that I have on my list, I'd really like to hear from you all. Please do not hesitate to also comment down below of anything you agree or you disagree with. I would love to hear from you all because we are all learning from each other, right? I'm coming here telling you all about my own experience, and I hope you also will tell me about your own experience in the comments down below. Let's look at my board because I have my board behind me here. And first thing I have in my board is scheduling daily Scrum for 15 minutes. Right? I know you all will be like, Aisha, what do you mean scheduling daily Scrum for 15 minutes? The Scrum Guide stated that daily Scrum should last 15 minutes. Yes, we all know that, right? Like I said, we all know the books, but so let's talk about reality, right? So when it comes to daily Scrum, right? And let's talk about when you work on site. We all know that when you work on site, meaning when you go to the office, sometimes these rooms that you schedule your meetings, you have to book it. And that you book it for, that's how long you have that room for. So let's say you book your daily Scrum for 15 minutes, because we all know that daily Scrum is 15 minutes. And then there's issues to be discussed with the team in parking lot. So when do you have your discussion in your parking lot? When the other team are outside the door waiting for you, right? So that's the on-site scenario. So that's why it's very important. Like what I've done is to always book my meeting for like 30 minutes. So we'll always hopefully do our meeting 15 minutes for daily Scrum and 15 minutes for parking lot. Because you don't want to book a meeting and then at the end your team have more important things to discuss or address in the parking lot, and we don't have that schedule for that in the board, and that wouldn't look good. The same thing too if you work remote, you just tell your team members like you schedule your daily Scrum for 15 minute slot. And we know sometimes at work, the early morning time, like between 9 to till lunchtime, is like the most busiest with a lot of meetings. And you schedule 15 minutes for daily Scrum, and then someone else will just book you for the next thing. And what if your team have more things to discuss, like they have more issues to address in the parking lot, and you do not have that schedule? So I will always we encourage Scrum Masters to always book 30 minutes, 15 minutes for daily Scrum and 15 minutes for parking lot. And in parking lot, that's where we discuss any other thing the team will have, or if you want to follow up with any blockers, or want to follow up with any issues, or if you want to bring more people in the meeting that can help us resolve any issues. So that's why it's important for us to schedule that. So that's my number one anti-pattern. A Scrum Master booking daily Scrum for only 15 minutes. All right. So the next thing I have in my board is not addressing follow-up dependency or resolved dependency. Number two. So what I mean by not addressing dependency or follow-up dependency, because we all know like throughout the day in our work, we like following up on dependency as a Scrum Master. We are sending email, receiving email, like we are discussing how we can solve this. We're even sometimes scheduling extra meeting outside our stand-up to discuss all these meetings. As a Scrum Master, sometimes you attend, sometimes the whole team will not attend, right? So that's why it's very important for you, the Scrum Master, as you are resolving this dependency, as you are resolving these issues, or there is more issue that will arise, do not hesitate to also bring this up. Of course, you can send it through the email if it's that's important for them to know right away. And also bring it up to in the daily Scrum meeting and let the team know, oh, by the way, team, this is now resolved. Don't wait till the sprint end and now you're going to sprint planning. You now say, okay, now looking at our board, all of that is resolved. Now we can start this planning. It's good to continuously keep the communication open, right? And continuously inform our team what's going on outside the Scrum event. Very, very important. So that's why I say it's very important for you to let the team know. And if you do follow up on it, also don't hesitate to bring that up during parking lots and discuss what you've arised. Of course, we can have all those maybe deep discussion during daily Scrum, but that's why we have the parking lot to bring up those other issues. We can inform the team. So it's an anti-pattern if you just resolve it by email and just wait till sprint planning before you address it. So it's very important to keep the communication open. So the next thing I have in my board is not calling out potential spillover or carryover till almost the end of the sprint. And this I've seen so common. Of course, we know when we start the sprints, like 1 or 2 days, so there'll be still a lot of tasks maybe to do. But it would be a little concerning if you like your team said that they will do all of these tasks in the sprint, and there's 4 more days remaining in the sprint, and you see a lot of tasks still under the to-do column. That's something you should definitely address, right? You as a Scrum Master should not wait till the last day of the sprint or maybe a day before the last day of the sprint and start asking the team, oh, by the way, team, see all of these tasks in to do, and I guess we're not going to be completing these tasks, right? So that's one way you can see it. Another thing you can see is the tickets being in progress for so long, right? I hope you all are adding these days in the column. It's on Jira. They have that on your Jira configuration settings, where basically you can add that dot in all of your cards. You can see for how long it's been in a column and stuff. But if you can do that, it's fine. But just the important thing is that for you to always follow up together. You don't even have to call the person that's assigned on it, because that's the least important, right? Because we're seeing that everything in the sprint backlog for that particular sprint is the responsibility for everyone in the team, regardless of who is assigned to, right? So then we say, oh, by the way, team, looking at our board, we have 5 days remaining in this sprint, and we still have all of these tasks in to do. So what are we going to be doing about that? Are we still going to be completing all of these tasks by the end of this sprint, right? We still have a long step still to follow in our workflow before we can close these tasks. So that's why it's important for you to start raising this and start speaking up early and start asking like open-ended questions to the whole team, so that they're able to start thinking, okay, did we overcome it maybe? Or maybe we should further discuss how we can address this and not wait till the last minute. That's very important. So the next thing I have is not going over metrics with the dev team in parking lot. So basically not going over your whole like metrics. What I mean, like one of them might be the burn down chart. Basically you as a Scrum Master, I think it's important not for you just to like bring metrics during retrospective or show it up during sprint review, but you can definitely also make it a habit where you show your team burn down chart, like let's say 3 days after you start your sprint, and you open during your parking lot, of course, because we'll always address the most important things during the daily Scrum meeting itself, right? So in the parking lot, you will always for sure will bring your burn down chart and show it to the team, and like, okay, team, so let's just summarize where we currently stand and how long it's gonna take us before we can overall complete our tasks in this sprint. So that's when you now show the burn down chart to your team and you interpret the burn down chart to your team. And if you do not know how to fully interpret the burn down chart of your team, I already have a whole Jira video on how to interpret the burn down chart. It's very important for you all to know how to do that, so your team can also understand the overall flow of work and how they've actually been completing their work. So that's something that I do for my team, and my team will always like it. And at the end of the sprint, close to the end, when we do close our sprints, I'll always also show us our velocity. All right, so the next thing I have in my board is updating the Scrum board for your team. I know people are like, oh yeah, Aisha, myself, I know I was guilty of this in the beginning. I'll update the Scrum board. Okay, I'm right here, I'm sharing my screen. Why don't I just update it? Because they're telling me it's in to do, but they are actually working on it. I should just update it. But then later on, I realized that that's something that I kept doing now. It's making the dev team not actually updated, because they're waiting to the daily scrum and just expect me to do it since I'm doing it for them, right? But we do not want to do that, right? Of course, if the team is new to Agile or they're new to Scrum, we'll like to do like a coaching session, a teaching session to show team how they can update their board. Maybe after one sprint, by you showing them how to do it, then the next sprint, automatically the team should be able to update their own tickets, going from, what I mean update, moving their own tasks as they are working on it, like moving the tickets from to do to in progress into review, depending on how your workflow is set up. So that's something that the team themselves should do it. But of course, again, maybe when they're like, okay, Aisha, I don't have access, I'm having access issue, my ticket is in to do, but to be honest, it's actually in progress, then of course I'm going to move it, because I won't say, okay, let's go wait for the access issue, then you come back and update it. I won't do that. And in that case, for sure, I would definitely just, okay, sure, right, I will just move it and update it for them, But it's best for the team to do it themselves, so they also can have a look at the board, because sometimes there will be an opportunity for them to come in and look at what's going on in the team. So that's another thing I have in my board as an AntiPadding. So the next thing I want to do is to announce dev team working on the task, not on Scrum board. Very, very common sometimes, right? I know people are like, oh, okay, then that might be you didn't bring that up during sprint planning. Was it a scope change, or was it something? You'll be surprised. Sometimes there's some miscellaneous things that the team might be working on here and there, and they will be giving updates, right, and telling you what they've worked on, or when they're talking together amongst themselves, and you'll be hearing what they're saying and be looking at your cards in your board, and you realize that it does not match. And in that case, that's when you should ask the team, oh, by the way, which card are you actually describing? Like, oh, which one are you talking about? I just want to follow up with you, or, and then the dev team might tell you, oh, it's just like a little side thing I was doing here and there. So then that's a place where you can use like a coaching, right, with the team. Oh, it's actually very important for us to be transparent with our work. When we are working on anything, let's ensure that it's in the board, so we all can know like what we are working on together as a team. So that's how we can ensure that we are all in line with working towards our sprint goal, right? Because it's very important that whenever we're adding or removing stuff, at the end of the day, we have to ensure that we are working towards meeting that sprint goal, right? That's an AntiPadding. So another thing I have in my board is to shout out Erin Odizema, because Erin Odizema, he has an Agile Top Chalk on LinkedIn. He always go live on Wednesdays. So these videos that he has there is very valuable. I think it's free, by the way. I think it's very valuable for you all if you all can attend sometimes. Like, I know it's around my lunchtime at 12 noon. So I always like to then join at 12 noon. My lunchtime is like an hour, 12 noon to 1 o'clock. Or most of the time we have those lives on Wednesdays on LinkedIn. Maybe I'm going to put his link down below so you guys can follow that video. Because last time he interviewed Jeff Sutherland, one of the creators of Scrum. He interviewed most of one of those people that wrote the Agile Manifesto. He will invite them to his talk show, and they will literally tell you about why did they have those stuff in this Agile Manifesto, lesson learned, or what did they regret, and what would they change. So I think it would be nice for you all to go to this live talk show and listen and learn something. You can also sometimes ask questions live to this Agilist, So I just thought I should let you all know about this, and it's a free webinar. So if you can attend, it's gonna be good. It's on Wednesdays, usually live. And I think he did say that he also has a YouTube page where he will save all the recordings. Maybe then people that cannot attend live, you can go back and listen to those recordings. All right. So now let's get back to our video. So the next thing I have in my video is an anti-padding of allowing demo in the middle of daily scrum. I'm guilty. I won't lie. Myself, I'm guilty with this because sometimes like the team will be so like happy they've been able to resolve something. They're like, oh my god, I've fixed that, I've resolved it. Let me show you all what I've done. Let me show you how it looks. I was having so much challenge to fix this. Then I also, oh yeah, and I will always say, oh yeah, go ahead, show it to us. Let's see. And then we'll be there showing it on and on. And one time in our retrospective, one of the dev team said that because I like to do my retrospective anonymous, right? Because I want it to be safe where people can be open and discuss anything. And they wrote a ticket saying that, please let's stop having demo in the middle of stand-up. I was like, whoa, that's me. Because as a Scrum Master, we should be like, oh yeah, sure, you can have your demo, but let's have that in the parking lot, right? Because that's something for sure we can show in the parking lot. But then I'll be so happy for them myself. I'll be so eager. I'll be like, yes, let's see it. And then I'll be like, okay, where did we start from? Who is going next? You know, that will literally deviate us away from the whole purpose of the daily scrum. It is true, of course, it's nice for the team to showcase their work, but leave that for this parking lot. Your team can tell you like, oh, I've resolved that, I've resolved this issue, let me show you all. Sure, you can show us all, but let's keep that in the parking lot. Let's finish up with daily scrum and address all these issues. Then when we are done, we can now do that in the parking lot. So then after that feedback, then I readjusted, and that's how we learn and grow, right? As I told you all, I'm going to be telling you all some of my mistakes, and that was one of them too. So the next thing I have in here is not discussing the scope change with the team. Yeah, this is also very important, right? Because sometimes when there's something new coming in and the PO wanted to be added to the team, most of the time the PO will always come to you, the Scrum Master. And they're like, oh, by the way, the business want this, or this actually just happened. We need to do this, we need to do that. And it's very important. And then you, the Scrum Master, you're asking how important, right? Because sometimes PO will come with everything is important, right? But then again, we'll now ask the question like, oh, how important is it? Is it like really, really important? On a scale from 1 to 10, I like to use the scale a lot. How important is this task? And then they will scale it up at 10. And if they scale it up at 10, and I'm like, okay, then that's something for sure, cannot wait till next sprint. And that's something we are definitely going to be adding it. Then I'm like, okay, did you talk to any of the dev team? Which team, who can we do this on? And remember, this is something that we've discovered outside of daily scrum, and we're just going by our day. And usually it'll be like a meeting with the team. Sometimes we have to schedule a meeting and discuss this. And the PO would say like, oh, this is actually, I've already discussed with this person, this team, this particular process that they will have bandwidth to work on it. And then as a Scrum Master, I'm following up with that team. Like, okay, did you heard about this new priority item that's coming to the team, right? And I heard you also agreed to work on it, right? You're also ensuring that what the PO is telling you is the same and you all are on the same page. And that person for sure will say, oh yeah, sure. And that's something that you can keep till next day of the sprint for you to address it, right? And automatically we'll assign it to that person, because why? They said it's okay and they said it's fine, they can do the work. And of course they'll put on hold what they are working on. So we're doing all of this like outside of every other members in the team. So after now the next day or the daily scrum, if you have a group chat, you can tell the whole team what's going on. But it's very, very important in your next daily scrum to address it to the team. So the whole team too can know what happened, why did we add that, why are we changing the priority, and why is it so important for them to address that right now. Because we want to include our team member at all given points of the process of them doing their work. Because why? We are all responsible to meet our sprint goal at the end of the sprint. So although it's that one person that agreed to it, we also should always bring it to the team and have that conversation and further discuss, right? The best way will always be when something happens is for the product owner to bring it to the team and bring it to the team if that's the case. And when we do bring it to the team and we'll have that conversation, and we all would, as a team, will see how we can take on that new task. Because why? That's why we do in Agile, right? Although sometimes it's true, it's going to be difficult if you keep deviating, keep changing things back and forth. It won't look good with metrics and stuff. But then again, as long what is being brought in, it's working, is not changing our sprint goal, right? Going back to the Scrum guide, as long what we are adding and removing, because we are continuously making these changes, inspecting and adapt until we are able to meet our sprint goal. As long as we are not deviating away from our sprint goal, we can always add and remove stuff to meet that goal at the end of the sprint. I hope that helps. So it's an anti-pattern if we don't inform the whole team and we just make all of these changes behind the team and not discuss it with the team. So that's what I meant by the anti-pattern. So the next thing I have is daily stand-up. So basically what I mean by that is when as Scrum Master, you're scheduling your meeting invites and you're calling your title daily stand-up. It's been changed. It's not daily stand-up, it's daily Scrum. Not daily stand-up, daily Scrum. I'm saying this because I still see people's meeting invite and Scrum Masters meeting invite saying daily stand-up. It should be daily Scrum. So that's an anti-pattern if you're still calling your daily Scrum meeting daily stand-up. So the next thing I have is not discussing sprint goal. I know this is like something I've observed. Basically, I will have a team. They basically are just adding stories in the backlog during sprint planning, adding stuff like, okay, we're going to be working on this. And at the end of the day, they don't have a goal. They won't craft a goal and they won't have some kind of sprint goal so that everyone will know that we're all working towards something. So that's why it's very important for a team. When it's Scrum Master, you see it during sprint planning, should always bring up and ask the team, okay, what is our goal for the next 2 weeks? What is our goal in doing all of these tasks? Although, yes, I've seen all of these features, but what is our goal? So, because the goal is to ensure that we continue to work to meet that goal. That's why you should definitely encourage your team and your product owner for you guys to come up with a sprint goal. So at the end, you'll see if you're able to achieve your goal or not. So it's very important. So another thing I have is insisting daily Scrum lasts 15 minutes. I know this sounds weird, but I've seen it whereby a daily Scrum can be set up for 15 minutes, but that do not mean that you have to hold your team for 15 minutes. Let's say today is sprint planning, day 1, and the next day, sprint day 2, team members are working on the tasks, and if everyone's saying that, oh yes, that's not in progress, I'm working on that, it's in progress, do anyone have any blockers, any impediments or any issues, and everyone is fine, that sometimes can take you literally in 5 minutes. Let's be honest. Sometimes that can literally take you in 5 minutes. And then it's in 5 minutes, although you schedule your meeting for 30 minutes and 15-minute daily Scrum, 15-minute parking lot, and the team have nothing else to cover. And now I'm like, okay, team, I know it's 5 minutes, we've done. We have no any more issues or any impediments to discuss. If there's nothing else, let's go in the parking lot. You can start bringing things or bringing jokes or bringing things just to get your team to stay for the full 15 minutes, even when it's not valued. It's very important for us to know that at all given time, all these meetings are in place to ensure that we are continuously inspecting and adapting to meet our goals, right? And if something is not valuable to the team, do not enforce it, do not push it. So if the team meeting end at 5 minutes and they're like, okay, now that we're done with the daily Scrum and we have the parking lot, now let's just go to the parking lot. All right, do we have anything we want to address in parking lot? No? And that's when I like to use that opportunity to show the burn down chart. Because then, okay, now let me just go over the burn down chart with you all and we go in. Okay, here is where we start. Today is day 2 in our sprint. This is where we currently start. Just to give a quick summary what we did yesterday in sprint planning. This is where we currently stand. We committed for this much goal. Right now our line is flat due to we just started the sprint, right? We didn't close any tasks yet. As we continue to close our tasks, our line is going to continue to go down. So I'm going to keep updating you all as we continue, as the sprint is getting nearer to end. So you summarize that to them. All right, do anyone else have anything they want to showcase? They want to show anything to the team or discuss anything? No? All right, if not, thank you all. See you again tomorrow. But of course, people have anything they want to share, they want to discuss at that moment, sure. because the parking lot is not mandatory for the whole team to be there, right? Because sometimes too, when in the parking lot, I'll always announce to the team, now we're in the parking lot. If you do not have anything, you can drop. But if you have anything, you could stay, for sure. Anti-pattern that I've seen, that I've noticed that have happened, and I think it's something that we all can improve on as a Scrum Master, which is inviting others to your team, basically daily Scrum meeting, without informing the dev team. And why I'm saying that we Scrum Masters sometimes are very guilty of this is that, let me give you guys an example. So let's say you have a new junior Scrum Master that joined your company, and you are asked to let that junior Scrum Master or that Scrum Master to observe your meetings, because this is very, very common, whereby if someone is new that joined your company, and they'll ask them to observe one or two teams, and your team is chosen for this new Scrum Masters to come and observe. Leadership will always give you and tell you that, oh, we want so and so person to observe your team is doing good and all of that. And you'll be like, sure, but I'm going to talk to my team and let my team know, and for sure I'll get back to you on the date, right? You won't tell them no. Of course they can come, but because it's very important for you to let your team know that there's this new person that will be joining your team just to observe. And you tell them why and who, You bring it first to the team, and if you all agree as a team, and then you now go back and email them, okay, sure, I've discussed it with my team. My team is informed and aware. So now we can allow this person to come into our meeting. It's very, very important we communicate this. It's a huge anti-patterns that when we add people in the meetings, or we invite people in the meetings, and we did not discuss this with the developers, with the basically development team. So it's very, very important that we always we bring all of these things to the development team and let them know before we invite all of these people. So if you missed my last video on how to do a basic JQL on Jira, my goal is to be so simple as possible on that basic JQL. Take a look down below, you'll see that video. And if you're interested in mentorship or coaching, don't hesitate to email me at admin@AishaScrumTech.com, and also you call me at 484-767-1979. Thank you all for watching my videos. I truly appreciate you all, and thank you all for your time, and I'll see you again in my next video.